What is the true potential of Rubiel Mosquera, aka Nextzilla? What's the word? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, here with Jimmy Sadek and Michael Galley, and we're discussing Rubiel Mosquera, aka Nextzilla. I mean, Jimmy, we need to get into it. You said if he beats Nextzilla in his lifetime, you'll give everyone watching $1,000. I think we had 13,000.
You misheard me. I said I'd give Mick $1,000. I was exaggerating.
Oh, okay.
However, I'm happy to go a double for nothing on this year. I bet Mick this year that he will not win the Olympia.
Next year.
He's not going to win the Olympia.
Next year. Double or nothing. I'm just trying to get out of it.
You're talking to the 13,000 listeners from the last episode. And can I just say, Will, if you can on this episode, can you put a snippet up of when Jimmy promised that last episode?
Okay, I was wrong.
I'll pull it out.
All right.
That's silly.
I was wrong. If he ever beats Nick Walker, I will give you $1,000 cash.
All of us?
That's a
All
win.
of you. Everyone who watches this fucking show.
Oh, my God.
But, like, be fair. Guys that big shouldn't look that good.
Be fair.
They shouldn't.
Well, let's face it. At the end of the day, all our predictions were like totally wrong. Again, we hadn't seen him on stage at that point, and I think all of us were chatting after that pre-judge, and he delivered the goods. He looked bloody amazing. It was, yeah.
Look at that. Like, what is that? Because that's 28 years old, 286 pounds. And I thought he was going to be out of condition, but his conditioning surprised me because when he hit his side chest, he had lines all through it. I mean, there's another level to go in terms of conditioning, but look at that side leg there compared to like Crizzo. Like it's night and day, and it's like
if you like Chris Cormier has been all over the place the last week in interviews. If you listen to what he's saying, he's not even happy with the way he's hitting that shot. So
which is crazy.
Yeah, but hey, the difference in his conditioning from the pro qualifier to the pro show, he literally went from amateur to pro. Like it was crazy difference. Whatever they did.
Well, prior, when we saw that footage, when we was all talking, I think we were all like maybe just concerned on the conditioning level. It wasn't going to be hard enough. We thought he'd all win his pro card, but then, you know, sort of get cleaned up in the pros, maybe a little bit like 6th place, 7th place, something like that. But he beat Nathan D'Asha. Like that is like no easy feat. Even though I think Nathan was better at this show than the show prior, but it still is just such a crazy accomplishment. I mean, could either of you guys seen him placing higher in this show? Like, because when you look at him,
I was about to say he arguably beat Crizzo.
Yeah,
I think Crizzo was better than the Olympia too.
Yeah,
this got me.
Yeah.
So like the Crizzo at the Olympia versus this, you know.
Yeah, if he got second, I don't think there would have been. You know, I think people would have went along with that. I mean, Samson was a clear winner. Like he looked bloody amazing at that show, but this guy's looking insane. Look at that quad and hammy. You know what he needs though, and funny because some shots they look impressive, but it's the front double bike. He's got to bring those arms up more.
Yeah, which is crazy to say because he has so much muscle. Like he hits the front double, he hits it pretty quick on this one. I'll go back to it. Yeah, like
do you know what's funny? If you like put your hand over his like waist and cover his legs, that upper body is ridiculous. Right? And you take your hands away and you're like, all right, man, you're gonna get bigger. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's the legs almost look like mutated. That's the thing about his physique that just blows my mind is how big his calves and legs are. And when he stands next to other people, it looks even crazier because you don't get an idea. He looks about 5'10" when I compare him to height to these other guys, you know, sort of that like maybe Ronnie Coleman height, maybe a tiny bit taller, you know.
Yeah. So I think we all agree, like he just needs that overall condition a bit more, brings those arms up and then the back. If he can do things like that, man.
He's
Well, first of all,
unstoppable.
Jimmy's bet's done and dusted next year.
I'm
That's for
fucked.
sure.
I'm fucked. Look, I'm so fucked. I'm gonna pay myself $1,000. Like I was so wrong,
But
I just couldn't. Guys like that don't look that good. Like he looks good in all the poses. Like he flows. Like what the fuck?
He poses really well for an amateur. Like literally, let's say he's basically an amateur. He's just gone into the pros the next day. He poses really well. He's got a little bit of work to do with it. He's got a great guy in his corner, Chris Cormier. But like, I mean, you look at him here. Everything just goes nicely together. Again, just that back a little bit more, that thickness, a little bit more width, the upper traps. But man, look at like Xavier said, the chest durations. I just keep getting drawn to those quads.
Yeah.
That teardrop.
yeah, I'm very intrigued what this would look like, you know, with those like subtle improvements to his physique in terms of like a little bit more conditioning here and there, maybe through the back. You know, maybe Chris Cormier's talked about maybe slightly more delts, a little bit more back. I mean, if he brings that
But
to
even
the
if
Olympia
he
stage next year,
if he conditions his quads and his legs, like if he dices them up properly, and like they could come down a touch, obviously, you could even out his physique a little bit more.
yeah,
Because
well, that's what Chris said. He says, I know I can get them separated. He says, I know I can get his legs hard and separated. And I'm like, if you can do that, I'm like,
So is
what's the, like, if he's, sorry.
No,
Go
so
on.
is Chris now his official trainer?
Pretty much.
Well, yeah, well, Chris is doing it free of charge, so you're not going to say no to Chris Cormier, obviously. So, Chris is, you know, planning to either go out to Colombia or him go to the US during his prep for next year, and it seems like he's going to do maybe not the Arnold Classic, but something soon after that. I don't know if it's been announced or not, so I don't want to say too much. But yeah, so he's doing something in terms of a prep for that. So I don't think he's doing the Arnold, but something after that. And if he's out in the US training under Chris Cormier, I mean, for what Chris has told me, he hasn't even been doing everything optimally. Like, it sounds like he's like, for what he's been doing, for what he looks like, it doesn't add up. Like, it doesn't make sense. So
No.
if he's not doing things right and he looks like this, or like, you know, not 100% spot on, and then he works with Chris Cormier, and, you know, they've talked about different coaches and stuff as well. I can't remember what was said in my interview and what was said beforehand with Chris, so I don't know exactly. But, you know, they get him a right, you know, who knows, he might start working with Vecito or one of these other guys and then be trained under Chris Cormier, and going from doing things suboptimally to optimally. It's going to change some things.
He's just an absolute genetic freak. But remember, 6 months ago, none of us could see this happening. He's just gone next level, and there's so much more room for improvement. And he's going to, when Andrew Jack, the same sort of deal, when he went amateur to pro, and then he just kept improving. This guy's going to improve dramatically from show to show for a couple of years. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I love when there's new guys come on like this. It just blows everyone away. It really looks.
But this guy,
And Jimmy,
sorry, yeah, go, Zave.
your baby's quite excited about Rubio, I can tell.
Dude, biggest
He's
fan.
pumped. Yeah, exactly.
He used to like Derek. He used to watch Derek's videos. He dropped him like a bag of fucking cement.
Yeah. Well, your baby will probably have no myostatin too, like Rubio.
Oh, look, and if he doesn't, I'll just jam him for the growth.
It would be 6 feet by the time he's in grade 6. But anyway, I suppose the word is that people think that this guy can do very well in next year's Olympia, and I don't see any reason why not, because when you look at it, that's, you know, 2 top 7 guys from the Olympia. One of them's 3rd and was in that top 3 call out. The other one was 7th, and I think both of them improved in this contest, and he's standing next to him and not being, you know, I'm a real lat spread. You can go, oh yeah, okay, he's getting outclassed probably a little bit, but still, even still, it's like he just needs a little bit more, and then I think he's going to be right there with the top guys in the Olympia. Honestly, I have him in that top 5 of the Olympia next year if I had to guess. You know, I'm guessing he'd be in the top 5. Like, what do you think, Mick? Do you think he'll be right up in there contending?
Well, he's got to qualify first. I mean, he's in with
obviously,
a damn good chance of qualifying. I mean, you look at Nate too. What did Nate win? 2 or 3 shows? He's beaten Nate. Nate's the pro winner. So there's every chance he's going to win one of these shows leading into the Olympia. I'm sure they've already put a game plan together, but he's going to be in that top 6. I'll put him in that top 6, and I'm going to collect my money from Jimmy, and I'm going to put it on 34 black. Or is it 34 red?
Do you think he'll beat Nick Walker?
Well, would you have thought Nick Walker would have placed 3rd 2 years prior?
No. Answer the question.
Not next year.
Double. All right, here we go. Double or nothing at the Olympia, assuming that they both qualify.
Just pay your
Nick
money.
Walker versus him.
No, I don't think he'd beat Nick next year.
Oh, just take the fucking bet.
I don't think he'd beat Nick. Nick's going to come back with a vengeance, dude.
Okay, well that's good. The bet is that he'll never beat Nick Walker, so you're still losing next year.
But I've already won the bet. This doesn't make sense. Pay your bet.
No, what was the bet? Nick, the bet was that he'll never beat
Xavier's
Nick
going to
Walker.
put that on this episode about what you said.
He hasn't beat Nick Walker yet though. He hasn't
No,
won
the
the
bet
bet yet.
is that he'll never beat Nick Walker.
You can't change your bets.
That's the bet.
You haven't won yet, Mick.
You haven't
Yes.
won yet. You're just assuming.
Okay. He won't
You're
beat
assuming
Nick
because I've
next year.
messaged you and going, oh, fuck, I'm in trouble. You're like, all right, I've won here.
Not next year. Not next year, but most likely the year after.
I've got
yeah.
2 years to save up some money then.
Oh, you're doing
I wouldn't
just fine.
disagree.
You're doing just fine. You're the hardest working PT I know.
Don't matter.
Yeah.
Look, he's still going to beat Nick. I don't think he's going to beat Nick.
And for those who don't know, Jimmy is building like the most epic backyard of all time. It looks insane.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
I
so
just don't like
jealous.
people. I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, you can just. I feel the same. I'm like, I want to do that one day. Get that sort of a backyard. That was cool. But anyway, yeah, I think we're all pretty big on Rubio and what his future is. So that's it for this one, guys. For Jimmy Sadek, myself, Xavier Wills, Michael Galley, and Jimmy's 5-month-old child, we are